Hi everyone, Miss Sarah here from the San Diego Children's Discovery Museum in Escondido, California. Thank you so much for joining us for our special World Oceans Day celebration. Now, the ocean is something we should celebrate every day, but each year on June 8th, people from across the world come together to celebrate and honor the one body of water that connects us all, the ocean. We are so lucky to have partnered with the Living Coast Discovery Center down in Chula Vista, California, and they have provided us with some really great sea turtle content. Ashley, an educator over at the Living Coast Discovery Center, is going to lead us through a fact or fiction game sea turtle edition. So let's get our thinking caps on, lock them in place, and have fun.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Living Coast in your living room. My name is Ashley. I'm one of the educators here at the Living Coast Discovery Center. Now be sure to join us every day on YouTube, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. We will be premiering our videos where you get a chance to learn about the native wildlife that calls San Diego home. The Living Coast Discovery Center is a small nonprofit zoo and aquarium located down in Chula Vista. And we actually highlight all of our native plants and animals that call San Diego home. So be sure to join us as we highlight and teach you all about the wonderful nature that's in our backyard. Now today, we are going to be doing a fact or fiction sea turtle edition. Now you may have previously played with us before, but this one is going to be played the same way. So this is fact or fiction. I will read out a statement. You tell me whether that statement is a fact or a fiction. You can do so in the comments below, or you can play with your friends and your family. All right, are you ready to get started? So my first statement is going to be fact or fiction. Sea turtles have flippers, not fins. Are these two lovely sea turtles behind me swimming around using flippers, or are they swimming around using fins? So the statement says, sea turtles have flippers, not fins. Now this statement is actually a fact. Sea turtles do have flippers, not fins. And the reason why they are flippers is because they have bones in them. So if you x-rayed a sea turtle's flippers, you would find bones. And those bones would actually look very similar to what our arm and our hand bones look like. They would be a little bit different in their elongation, so some of them would be longer than ours, but the same basic bone structure would be found in that x-ray. Now these flippers are modified legs from like a freshwater turtle to allow them to swim easily through the water. All right, my next question is going to be for you. Is it fact or fiction? Sea turtles spend about 97% of their life in the water. Fact or fiction? Sea turtles spend about 97% of their life in the water. Now this statement is actually a fact. Sea turtles do spend a majority of their life in the water. Sea turtles are hatched on a nest on the land, so on the beaches they have nests. They come out of those nests and they race to the ocean as fast as they possibly can, trying to get into that water column to get all of its protection that it can. Now, once they enter that water, sea turtles pretty much stay in water their whole lives. Really, they don't come out unless they are females and they're going back to that same beach so that they can lay their own clutch of eggs. So sea turtles do spend a majority of their life in the water. All right, statement number 3. Sea turtles live to be hundreds of years old. It's a very common statement that sea turtles live to be hundreds of years old. Is this fact or is this fiction? Sea turtles do not live to be hundreds of years old. That is a very common myth that a lot of people believe, that sea turtles can live to be hundreds of years old, but that is actually not true. Sea turtles can live for a long time. but their lifespan is actually very comparable to a human. Most sea turtles will live to be about 60 on average. Now, scientists are still doing research on sea turtle longevity to figure out exactly how long each of those 7 species lives, but what they are finding is they are all generally long-lived animals and live for at least 60 years, and they have seen majority of the sea turtles to be living around that 60 to 80-year mark. So it is fiction that sea turtles will live to be hundreds of years old. Now, the 2 that we have here at the Living Coast behind me, these 2 are actually juveniles, so they are definitely not hundreds of years old. These 2 behind me are actually about 10 years old right now. All right, our next statement is going to be, sea turtles breathe underwater. Fact or fiction? Sea turtles breathe underwater. Do you think this statement is a fact or fiction? Sea turtles breathe underwater. This statement is fiction. Sea turtles do not breathe when they are underwater. Sea turtles are reptiles, so that means that they have lungs. They need to go up to the surface and take a deep breath. You may have seen this guy behind me doing so throughout this video as he's hanging out, checking us out and seeing what we're doing over here. So sea turtles do breathe air through lungs, so they need to either pull it in through their nostrils or through their mouth. Most often though, you will see them taking big gulps of air, big gasps, just like we do when we go swimming. We come up to the surface and we go, they do that too. So you'll often see them swimming down low and coming back up to get a big breath. Now, we actually have 2 sea turtles here at the Living Coast Discovery Center. One of them has been with us pretty much this whole video, and the other one's actually behind me resting. So even though sea turtles do breathe air with lungs, they are able to hold their breath for quite some time. Sea turtles can hold their breath for a pretty long amount of time, and it does vary between the species. Green sea turtles have been known to hold their breath for up to 5 hours. That's a very long time. Now, when sea turtles are being active, if they're swimming around a lot, then they're not able to stay down for that long. When they are resting in that long period of staying down, holding their breath, they need to actually be resting. So they'll wedge themselves into the corals or into the rocks, the kelp forest, whatever they can to stop themselves from floating away or being moved, and they will actually rest. When they do this, they are actually able to slow the rest of their bodies down. They can slow their heartbeat down to 1 beat for every 9 minutes. That's crazy slow. Now, this has been known in green sea turtles, as they have been seen resting, and a lot of studies have been done on their metabolic rates when they are resting at those long intervals. All right, my next statement is sea turtles can come out of their shells. Is this fact or fiction? That sea turtles can come out of their shells. Fact or fiction? What do you think? Now, this statement is actually fiction. It is not true. Sea turtles cannot come out of their shells. Sea turtles must stay in their shells at all times as they are fused to their bodies. Turtle shells actually are fused to their spinal column. So a shell is actually made out of modified scales called scutes, and the scutes make up the backside or the dorsal side. This is known as the carapace. The carapace is then fused to the spinal column as well as their ribs. So you would not be able to remove a sea turtle shell from the rest of the sea turtle. If a sea turtle could come out of a shell, it would also leave big holes in its body, which would mean more water would seep into their body, and that would slow them down when they're swimming. Sea turtles are not very fast swimmers as is, so they need every advantage they can get so that they can make sure they can swim as quickly as they possibly can. So sea turtles are not able to take their shells off, and if you have seen that in a cartoon, it is exactly that, a cartoon. Now, those are some of the most commonly asked questions I get here at the Living Coast when referring to our sea turtle friends. The most common myths or misconceptions that we often encounter, and that's what we use for our fact or fiction editions. Now, I hope you had a great time learning about sea turtles with us here today. Be sure to join us on our next video on Living Coast in Your Living Room. See you next time.
Wow, that was so much fun learning about sea turtles with the Living Coast Discovery Center. Let us know in the comments what you learned and how you plan on celebrating the ocean today. For more information on the museum's upcoming programs and events, head on over to our website at sdcdm.org. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we'll see you next time.